Alright, so in part one, I left off where I have come in, I'm using the bathroom, and he sideswipes me off of the toilet. And he's got me on the marble floor. Between the marble floor, the toilet is on my left, and the back corner of the bathtub is behind my head. And he's got one hand pushed against the side of my head, and he's got my phone in his other hand, and he's trying to break my phone so that I cannot call for help. Because I had already yelled for Siri to call those people. And for some reason, the call did not complete. I don't know if he called it in time, because you know you got like 5 seconds once you say that before Siri will make the call. So I didn't know that the call had not completed. So I'm screaming at him to get off of me, because he's like literally moving around with my phone, so his hand is like essentially hitting my head up against the back corner of the bathtub and the wall. He gets up off of me, throws my phone, goes around the corner, and then he proceeds to come back like seconds later while I'm messing with my pants, picks my phone up, proceeds to hit himself in the face. And I left out the part that when I got there, his hands, both of his hands, were covered in blood, his own blood. And I literally, like, I don't know what he punched or what he hit. It wasn't anything inside the house this time, thank God. I still don't know what it was. So he already has his hands, they're drenched in blood. And he is hitting himself in the face. And I've got it on recording to where he's admitted to punching himself in the face. Well, then he starts taking my phone and trying to smash it over his knee. And when he can't smash it because of my case, he gets mad and he chunks it at me again. So I go pick up my phone. He goes somewhere like towards the living room, and as soon as he turns the fucking corner, I run out of the bathroom, which is attached to one of my back rooms. I grab my car keys and I run out the back door and I get in my car. Well, he chases me out the back door and takes my car door and will not let me shut it. And I'm yelling at him, "Leave me alone, leave me alone." A few seconds later, it was probably 10 seconds of me trying to shut the door and to get him away from it, he reaches across me and he grabs my purse. And my purse is one of these little book bag types with this strap. So he reaches across me and it's in my passenger seat, and he snatches my purse, and I'm able to grab hold of the strap just a little bit, and I'm trying to snatch it back from him. Well, he finally yanks it hard enough to where he yanks me out of the car. And I'm on the ground. And he's going through my purse, throwing shit out, gets my wallet, unzips it where I keep my cash, and he takes the $200 in cash that I have out. Throws my purse, throws my wallet, goes back in the house, and that's, I guess, when he grabbed a bag and went out the front door. Okay, so again, I was on the phone with someone during this whole thing, like the whole shebang. Like it was a matter of minutes. So I guess he goes out the front door at some point. I'm still at the back picking up my purse and my wallet. I throw it in my car. I shut my car door and I lock it, and I call 911. And I'm telling the dispatcher, I'm like hyperventilating. I'm telling her the address. I'm telling her what happened. I'm like, I've been asking him to leave all day, because I cannot lose my child over a man. And I tell her, I said, this is the 4th time I've had to call 911 on this man. You guys never do anything about it. You never do anything. So she doesn't even try to stay on the phone with me. She doesn't ask me if I'm safe. She doesn't ask me any of that. She just says, okay, I'll get the call routed. Well, it was probably 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes later. It felt like that long anyway. an officer, the lady cop shows up by herself, and she gets out the car, and she asked me what happened, and I told her, and she said, which way did he go? And I said, he went that way, and he took $200 in cash out of my wallet. She said, how much? And I said, 200. She said, literally, she said, bet, I'll be back. She goes off in the direction he went, and a few minutes later, the male cop, patrolman Barrett, shows up. Well, as soon as he shows up, he's got a fucking chip on his shoulder. Like, he's just one of those, you can tell he's a cop to show authority, right? He's an asshole to me off the rip. You can just tell, like, he thinks that everyone is beneath him and so forth and so on. Well, a few minutes later, the lady cop comes back, and she has Johnny in the back of her car. And she gets him out, and they both come walking towards me. And the male cop is like, hey, he can't come up here. And she turns around and says, oh, yeah, you got to stay back there. And she has my money in her notebook. Well, she gives me my money back, and I put it in my pocket, and she goes back over and talks to him. I don't know what the fuck he told them, but I had already let them know that he has a laundry list of mental illnesses and is off his medication, and he just lost 2 siblings. And that this has been an ongoing issue for months with him putting hands on me. I showed them all of the proof, the audio. I let them listen to it. I showed them text messages of how this all started, and it started with me saying, I'm not going to lose my child over you, and if you make me choose, you're going to lose every time. And I told him, I said, I wasn't even here when this started. I was working. I said, I had just walked in the door at 2 o'clock. I stopped at my house to use the restroom before I went to get my child from school. And then the lady cop comes back over, and she takes my money back from me and gives it to him. And I was trying to tell them, look, I was on the phone with a mandated reporter. So they talk to that person, and if that person wants to make themselves known, they're more than welcome to do so. And they essentially tell her to kick fucking rocks. Like, she's telling them, he is off his meds, he has mental illness, this is not the first time. I have documented this with them for months. Every time it has happened, they are one of the people that I send this stuff to so that it is very well documented in case something were to happen to me. And she's also telling them, look, whatever he's saying is not what happened. I know what happened. I know what's, and like I said, she's a mandated reporter, and they basically tell her to kick fucking rocks. Well, the supervisor that is on scene has been a friend of mine for 15 years. But because if he's been a friend of mine for over 15 years, he cannot insert himself because of knowing me. They didn't listen to my mom. They didn't listen to the mandated reporter. They didn't pay any attention to the evidence that I had of all of these instances before. I said, you can call dispatch. The address, there is 3 previous 911 calls against this man. And he said, well, why didn't you evict him? And I said, what do you mean? He said, you can go down and file for an eviction. I said, well, why the fuck didn't y'all tell me this the first fucking time? Like, why would someone not have told me that? When you tell someone, God damn it, sorry, gonna have to do part 3. The face, when you were standing right here, punching yourself in the face.